Now we have with us in the studio here today Tracy Hillhouse-Price, who is the director of SYC's Youth Court.
Hello, Jillian.
Thank you for joining us, Tracy.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us about Youth Court.
Well, SYC Youth Court is a diversionary juvenile justice program that is operated by youth advocates of SYC in conjunction with SYC community schools. In Youth Court, students serve as attorneys and judges for real criminal cases. We receive cases from three sources: Division of Juvenile Justice for misdemeanors, Class A and Class B, the SYC Police Department for violations, so for example, a tobacco violation or a curfew violation, and then we also handle major and minor infractions for Mount Edgecombe, which are not criminal cases, but simply violations of their school code of conduct. Now, the benefits of juveniles going through SYC Youth Court is that they are given a second chance. So if a defendant was sent over from the Division of Juvenile Justice, if they went through SYC Youth Court, they completed their sentence, it wouldn't be on their permanent record. Now, the benefits for a student from Mount Edgecombe for a major or minor infraction, the benefit for them is they won't have demerit points. Now, I'm not sure how familiar you are with Mount Edgecombe's discipline strategy.
Unfortunately, not really.
Well, over there, they are, for an infraction that they are given demerit points. They may have restriction or something like that. Now, if they get so many demerit points, they are suspended for a week, and if they reach a higher number than that, it's 30, they could be expelled. So if they go through youth court, they complete the sentence, they won't get those demerit points. And as long as they don't do the same infraction again for that year, those demerit points will be held in deletion. Now, each case that we have in youth court is the defendant always pleads no contest, so we only have sentencing hearings. We never have trials for SYC Youth Court. What we always have is two prosecution, two defense attorneys. Now, what we have is that both of those attorneys are actually juveniles that have gone through training. We also have always a chief administrator, which is simply as the clerk, and three judges. The prosecution's responsibility is to present the probable cause statement and a sentencing recommendation. Now, the two defense attorneys who are youth, they meet with the defendant going through, they explain to them SYC Youth Court what's going to happen, and then they're also going to interview them and present a biography and also a sentencing recommendation. Now, the three youth judges that we have, they don't know anything about the defendant, so the only thing that they know is what the prosecution defense brings. And the responsibility for our judges in youth court, which are, again, youths, is to determine the sentencing recommendation, look at what the prosecution presented, what the defense presented, and see what is a reasonable sentence for the offense. Now, in youth court, we have two parts that are always required in a sentencing. We require community work service and some sort of written part. Now, that could be a letter of apology, it could be an essay on the effects of tobacco on the body, some sort of written part. In addition to community work service, a written part, the sentence may include restitution or a class. And what I mean by a class is that if it was a shoplifting case, for example, a juvenile would need to attend a juvenile anti-shoplifting class. If it was like a tobacco violation, a tobacco cessation class would be appropriate. Now, as I said, all of these attorneys and judges that are participating in our youth court are actually juveniles. They're in grades 7th through 12th. They come from the various schools here. We hold training twice a year, in the fall and in the spring. And this year, we're probably going to have a summer training as well. And to become an attorney, they have to go through an intensive training experience. And we tend to do it over a weekend. We found that intensive training works the best here in SYC. Other communities hold it over a 6-week period for a couple hours each week. We found that it works to do it a very long day on Saturday and a Sunday to actually become a member of SYC Youth Court. In addition to going through the class, they actually have to pass a bar exam, and they have to get an 85% on that bar exam. And then in addition to that, they also have to be familiar with our ethics rules. All our cases, because they're involving juvenile, are confidential. And actually, in youth court, we have the same ethics rules that attorneys do for the state of Alaska. So the students get a very very much get a head start. So if they're interested in law and going on to that, if they come back to last good practice, they're sort of familiar with some of the basic ethic rules that we have here in the state. And actually, this Tuesday, March the 2nd at 7 p.m. at the courthouse, we are actually having a swearing in for 12 new members, and we're also having a mock sentencing because, as I said, all our cases involve juveniles, they're confidential. The public isn't allowed to really witness what SYC Youth Court does and what it is. And so during our swearing in, we also like to host a mock sentencing. This coming Tuesday at 7 p.m. at the courthouse, we are going to be having a sentencing for a theft in the 4th degree, Class B misdemeanor. Our new members will be presenting what a case would look like in youth court to the public, and everybody is invited to attend.
All right, well, thank you. That was Tracy Price, Director of SYC Youth Court. We'll be back with more after this.